Have you ever awakened in the stillness of dawn with an unnamed ache in your chest? Not quite pain, not quite longing, but something that whispers, "This isn't it." You rise, stretch, dress, and step into another day that looks identical to the one before. Conversations feel rehearsed. Your workplace, your relationships, your routines all seem familiar, yet strangely hollow. Still, you stay. You show up. You endure. Why? Sometimes we stay not because we are content, but because we are afraid. Afraid of change. Afraid of what we might lose. Afraid of the unknown self waiting on the other side of transformation. But perhaps the most insidious fear of all is the belief that this half-life, this spiritual numbness, is all we're worthy of. Somewhere deep inside, we adopt the narrative, this is as good as it gets. At Golden Age Wisdom, we don't peddle fantasies. We journey through truth. However uncomfortable, we peel back the layers of polite silence, social masks, and internalized scripts. And we begin here with a question that Carl Jung would urge us to confront. Why do we tolerate what diminishes us? Modern man is trained to survive, not to awaken. From birth, we learn the codes of approval. What pleases others, what keeps peace, what makes us good. But in this pursuit of acceptance, we slowly amputate parts of ourselves. We call it compromise. We call it maturity. Sometimes we even call it gratitude. But what if your so-called gratitude is simply fear wrapped in virtue? What if what you call selflessness is actually self-betrayal? Carl Jung warned us of the shadow, the unconscious aspects of the self that we disown, suppress, or deny. These aren't always evil or destructive. Often, they are our power, desires, dreams, and truth, hidden beneath the shame we've inherited. The parts of you that know you deserve more are not arrogant. They are awake. Each time you feel that pang of dissatisfaction and ignore it, you betray your intuition. Each time you swallow your truth for the sake of harmony, you participate in your own silencing. The world doesn't ask us to mute our essence. We learn to do that to ourselves. Because we believe our truth will hurt others. Our fullness will intimidate. Our standards will isolate us. But here's the paradox. The more you shrink, the lonelier you become. Why? Because even in a crowded room, the self that matters, your true self, is absent. Jung taught that the world mirrors the psyche, not in a magical or wishful thinking way, but in a profoundly psychological one. When you carry unworthiness, you attract proof of it. Unfulfilling relationships, draining careers, situations that echo, "See, this is all you get." But the opposite is also true. When you change the internal image of yourself, you shift your gravitational pull. Worthiness is not an affirmation. It's an energy. And energy teaches others how to treat you. Self-love has been misbranded. It's not bubble baths, spa days, or aesthetic quotes. It is boundaries. It is the willingness to disappoint others before you betray yourself. It is the decision to stop explaining your worth to those who cannot see it. The revolution is silent. It shows up in how you speak, how you breathe, how you say no without guilt, how you no longer chase what leave you drained. This is not selfishness. It is individuation, a term Jung used to describe the process of becoming whole. There is a myth we often believe, the myth that familiarity equals safety. We cling to jobs that dull us, relationships that drain us, cities that no longer nourish us, all because they are familiar. Familiarity becomes our sedative. It whispers, "You know how to survive here." But survival is not the same as living. Jung warned that what you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. The more we resist change, the more life brings us into contact with the very pain we try to avoid. The comfort zone isn't a haven. It's a slow erosion of the soul, disguised as stability. Big betrayals are rare. Most of us don't wake up one day and abandon our truth. Instead, we chip away at it slowly. We laugh at jokes that offend our values. We accept silence where we needed honesty. We say yes when every fiber of our being screams no. These are not trivial. These are micro-betrayals, Silent choices that compound over time and construct an identity that is not yours. And what happens when you wear a mask for too long? You forget you're wearing it. Carl Jung's greatest gift to psychology was his insistence that we must face the shadow, the hidden self we conceal from the world and from ourselves. This shadow is not your enemy. It is your buried gold. It contains the parts of you that dared to dream, to speak up, to demand more, before they were labeled too much, too ambitious, or too sensitive. Reclaiming the shadow is not about perfection. It's about integration. It's about remembering. You were whole before the world taught you to fragment yourself. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the ache becomes unbearable, when the whisper becomes a roar, when your body begins to rebel against the life your mind insists on maintaining. You may feel exhausted, anxious, uninspired. You may lose interest in things that once lit you up. You may feel as though you're watching your life, not living it. These aren't signs of failure. They are signs of awakening. Your soul is not breaking down. It is breaking through. You are not your title, not your trauma, not your people-pleasing, not your curated image. You are what remains when all masks fall away. You are what Jung called the self, the sacred, enduring core that existed before the world told you who to be. To live from that place is not a one-time event. It is a daily choice, a commitment to no longer shrink, a vow to no longer settle, a rebellion against internalized scarcity. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to embody it. What if leaving wasn't a failure, but a form of reverence? What if walking away from the job, the relationship, the identity that no longer honors you, was the most sacred act of self-respect? Many wait for a sign, a breaking point, a loud cosmic yes. But the truth is, your discontent is the sign. Your exhaustion is the signal. Your inner silence is the alarm. When you stay in spaces where your essence is dimmed, you do not just hurt yourself, you teach others how to ignore your soul. To leave, without drama, without justification, is to declare, I remember who I am. And this, Carl Jung would say, is individuation in motion, choosing to become whole, even if it means becoming alone. The journey back to the self is not glamorous. It does not always come with applause or understanding. It is often lonely, uncertain, raw, but it is honest. When you stop tolerating what wounds you, you don't just reclaim your time, you reclaim your destiny. You begin to move from a place of truth rather than trauma, from vision rather than validation. Jung taught that when we live from the true self, synchronicity occurs, meaningful coincidences that align us with the path we were meant for. Life starts responding, not to your surface desires, but to your energetic clarity. But be warned, growth will cost you comfort. Integrity will cost you approval. Healing will cost you who you were before the awakening. Still, what is the alternative? To remain in lives that no longer fit, betraying our evolution for the illusion of security? The cost of mediocrity is your soul. So now, the question is no longer, can I have more? The real question is, how much longer will I accept less? There will be no perfect moment, no grand announcement. Only this moment, this breath, this knowing. You are ready to leave what depletes you, ready to trust your longing, ready to become the version of you that's been waiting behind a mask. If this message resonates, you are not alone. You are part of a silent uprising, souls across the world reclaiming their truth, their voice, their value. Subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom. Here, we don't just talk about healing, we embody it. We don't escape pain, we integrate it. We don't seek to be liked, we seek to be whole. Share your story in the comments. Have you ever stayed in something you knew was dimming your light? What helped you leave? Or are you still standing at the threshold, waiting for the courage to begin? Your words might be the mirror someone else needs. The soul does not shout, it whispers. But once you begin to listen, you'll hear the truth everywhere. You were never meant to settle. You were always meant to rise. Until then, honor your ache. Trust your inner knowing. Choose depth over comfort. And remember, you were never lost, only waiting to return.